Hello, 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 hello. I'm Cartes Ransom, your host of the C Note, where we keep it 100 and the real recognize real. And we also see you fake asses out there too. Coming to you tonight with season 2, episode 10, with Jeffrey Ladrae. He defines himself as a realist and he works in the legal field. Well, he should be coming up on the screen any second. All right. I think he should be coming on any second. There we go. I see him right there, right there.
Let
How are you? What's up? How you
turn these
doing?
Instagram notifications off because I don't want my phone vibrating. Can
Say
you hear me?
what? Yeah, I
Okay.
hear you.
No,
I hear you.
no, all good.
Yeah.
I'm just,
Okay. Now I don't hear you.
you can't hear me?
I do now. When you were just moving your lips a second ago, I didn't hear anything, but I hear
What
you
service
again.
do you have? Comcast?
Do I have Comcast?
Mm-hmm.
Xfinity, but
That, that's Comcast.
whatever. Yeah, I
Yeah,
know. I'm not dealing with that right now anyway, but
go ahead. All right. Thanks for the introduction. I
yeah,
appreciate it. This is what, my third time on here?
yeah,
It's my third or fourth time.
it's like your fourth, I believe, because the first time you came, we had a two-parter, and
Yeah,
then you came again. So this is your fourth time here. Yeah,
gotcha.
because this is going to be a second part to your last time here, but it took months to get to this part.
Listen, mental health is real, everybody. Black men, please take care of yourself. Put yourself first. And
Yes,
get out
that's
all the energy that you don't need to in your life. Period.
that's of utmost importance, because Lord knows we got a lot to deal with, particularly in this country, but all over the
What
place.
you call
But
it,
yeah,
the
hey
trauma gene.
everybody,
The trauma
the what?
gene. You call it,
Yeah,
what
the
did you call
trauma.
it? Trauma gene. Yeah.
Yeah. But we have a few topics for you tonight. We're going to start off. At first, this was not on the list, but we're going to go with this right now because it just happened recently. This whole Montgomery brawl thing, right?
Oh.
Um, and I want no, and I want to talk about that right quick because I think we discussed this whole thing before about this whole notion that we are not our ancestors, which is an insult, right? Because no other group says that we
Right.
are our ancestors, but they say that because they believe that our ancestors didn't fight back. I don't know why they didn't get. I don't know why they have that notion, although they don't teach that in school. But there were a lot of times where black folks fought back, even during slavery, even on the slave ships they fought back
Right.
and and kicked some what ass. So we have this notion. We say we're not our ancestors as if we're so big and bad now, and our ancestors were just chumps that never fought back, and that's
Well,
wrong and
that's
it's
what
totally disrespectful.
movies like Mississippi Burning and all the civil rights movies, that's what pisses me off. They make it look like we were passive and scared.
Right.
And we're not passive. We fought back a lot. Matter of
Mm-hmm.
fact, and we talked about this before, this discussion for another day, the reason they killed Dr. King was because he went from passive resistance to saying we need to start fucking shit up. And once he started
Exactly.
becoming cool with Malcolm X, all of a sudden they said, oh, we need to get this N word out of here.
Exactly. I
So,
mean, look,
our
eh,
ancestors fought.
they fought back constantly, but they're not going to teach about that in those history books,
And now
which, by the way,
they're
out.
outlawing it. You have someone running
Yeah,
for president who's running his platform on that.
yeah,
Literally, the
yeah.
chances, right?
Ron, Ron
Ugh,
DeSantis or DeSantis, whatever you want to call him,
Satan.
DeSatan
And then
DeSantis.
Glenn Youngkin
But
in Virginia won because of that. And literally, first thing he did was took that out of the schools here.
hmm
So it's really sad. But yeah, and then the Montgomery thing. I know there's a lot of memes coming out there, like the chair.
yeah,
I'm not gonna lie, that chair was funny. He did not need to
it
hit
is
that.
funny, right?
You say something?
What you saying?
No, I
No,
said
I was
he.
listening to you.
What's up, Manny? I can see the comments. I don't know if you can. But
hmm
I said they need to stop with the chair memes. So,
But I think they have calmed him down now since they did arrest the poor man who was chairman. But they have raised a lot of
there's
money. They
Aquaman.
raised a lot of money for his case, huh?
Well, I'm sorry, and I know a lot of people don't agree with this, but I'm going to say it. I don't think that the security guard was in the wrong. And my thing is, we're tired of being talked down to. We're tired of it, and we're not going to continue to sit here and tolerate disrespect. He was doing his
Right.
job, but he was getting jumped. So yes, we're going to
Exactly.
come and help each other. That's what we should be doing instead of sitting back recording stuff and hoping.
Every day, exactly.
Right.
Because if we had that attitude all across the country, Jordan Neely would still be alive today. Okay, Jordan Neely would still be alive today. I've been on subway trains before where people have gone off like that, and nobody jumped on them and choked them to death. Okay,
No.
people normally. And first of all, he was homeless and hungry and thirsty, and he never really threatened anybody per se directly. Yeah, he never directly threatened
Someone
anyone.
fact checked us. This is good. Thank you for saying this. He was the coach. Someone said something above. Someone said he was the co-captain of Harriet too.
He was the co-captain. Yeah, I remember. I know that.
Okay.
I should have said that. Yeah, when you called him the security guard. Yeah.
My apologies.
I found that out too. Yeah, because that's what they put out there at first. That's
okay. See, I didn't even know. So I felt for propaganda. Thanks for see. Unlike other people, I'll say thanks for educating me. Hey, Main Squeeze.
Yeah, and so the captain himself was speaking out over the loudspeaker for like 45 minutes, right? Basically trying to tell them to move their boat out the way. And they ignored them. They kept giving them the finger and saying all types of nasty stuff for 45 minutes. And they, like I said, they kept announcing this over the loudspeaker until finally the co-captain went to them directly and said something to them. But that's that sense of white entitlement, right? How dare you so-and-so
let's take it back further. Let's take it back further. This is why they don't want us to learn this shit in school. What happened? The difference between Alabama and Mississippi. When you heard about the civil rights movement in Mississippi, Mississippi was a little bit more oppressive, and they were more in our heads. So Mississippi didn't have a lot of boycotts and stuff. Them Alabama black people, we had the Montgomery Boys boycotts, we had the Watts riots, we had we had SNCC, we had. You notice they centralized everything. I mean, I can go on and on. Rosa Parks. There's more. I know everybody, so don't try to box me. There was a whole lot. Too many names. You don't hear about it a lot in Mississippi. Them Alabama folks were built a little bit differently. So they pulled that crap there. We tired of it. They've been dealing with that since the 1920s when they started, since George Wallace came along. So we don't want to keep dealing with that. So yes, if we do have our ancestor gene, that's a good thing because our ancestors in Alabama we sat at those lunch counters and let them throw coffee at us and stuff.
I come from black folks that fought back. I come from black folks that kicked white ass, including beat up some Ku Klux Klan members and some white cops. That's the type of stock I come from.
Well, so I hate cowards. They have to wear sheets over their head. Halloween costumes. So,
but now they're out in the open. Well, some of them are. Some of them are. You have covert racists and you have overt racists.
And there's your jure and de facto.
All right.
Latin terms. So.
We're going to get to that.
Riverboat said that he had a lot of problems with the same white people with that pontoon boat. Thanks for that, Dream Chaser, for the info. Okay, good. That's good.
All they had to do was listen. All they had to do was move their damn boat, and this never would have happened, right? But
nobody want to hear
that. What you say?
Nobody want to hear that though.
Oh yeah. Like I know you don't have long, so we're not gonna spend too much time on a lot of these topics, whatever. But one of the things we brought up the last time. Well, let me go back right quick about this ancestor thing right there.
Let's look at some of the topics first, so people who are here or people who log on later can,
Okay.
Or the replay they can.
Well, we're talking about the ancestor thing first, and the Montgomery Brawl, and then we're talking about the movie, which we both went through, and you felt it difficult to get through, The Woman King, right? And then we're also going to talk about this whole notion. Say that again.
Talk about the red dresses, or no? That's another topic.
If you want to, I wasn't going to get into that, but if you want to, because you like getting trouble.
Let's next time, because in this climate, the he, her, she, him people are gonna. I don't got time for that.
Yeah. And so after The Woman King, we're also going to talk about this whole thing because something I found out recently. You know Clarence Thomas, right? And how he is. I was in shocked when I found out recently that actually Clarence Thomas was quote unquote pro-black and had a black first mentality at one time, and he was a black nationalist, and he's totally changed over. So I wanted to talk about
Yeah.
what makes
He was,
a black person go from
don't kill me, everybody. He was a mentor of mine when I was doing the whole law school thing and all that. So, but we'll talk about that later. Go ahead. But
yeah
he has changed.
but
Go ahead. I'll explain that.
what makes a black person change from being about their people to going totally on the other opposite side,
We can
right?
discuss that because
Yeah.
never did that, but I can understand the notion because Candace Owens
hmm
did too. But we can discuss that when we get to it.
Well, you she was playing games, but but
Those people are called opportunists.
right,
Okay.
the opportunist. Okay, and one of the main things we're going to discuss is this whole
He said the
cis.
sunken place. I'm screaming. I'm reading comments.
Yeah, he's in the sunken place. But and then we're going to discuss the whole cis thing, CIS, cisgender, and cis and where it came from, and we're going to discuss your notion, which you texted me, which kind of caught me off guard. I was like, huh? But we're not going to say it just yet until we get to the topic. We're not going to say it just yet.
Okay.
Uh, but I'm just going to spend another minute on this Montgomery Brawl thing. I wanted to bring up the whole thing. Why don't we teach about like the Haitian Revolution, for instance, right?
Critical race theory.
Because with the Haitian, say it again.
They love to use the term critical race theory.
Yeah, critical race theory, which people like Condoleezza Rice is not for. She got on national television on that show, The Talk, like a year or so ago,
I need to see
and she basically say what?
I need to see this because I love Miss Rice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, she got on there and she was basically, saying that she didn't think it should be taught either or not like that because she's worried about the feelings. She's worried about the feelings of
It
white folks
happened.
and white children.
It happened.
Right. Right. But a lot of black folks are out here trying to coddle white people's feelings.
No.
They're more concerned about white folks' feelings than they are about the well-being of black folks. Like there's a meme that's going around. I'm sure you've seen several memes like that. If our children were strong enough to go through this shit, your children are strong enough to read about it and learn about it, right? Our black children had to live through that shit, that abuse, that constant abuse. Black children had to live through that. So if
But
black children can live
they
through
got
that,
spat
white
at walking to school while the white
fat
kids were on
ass
the bus.
dogs,
Called the N
dogs
word.
will stick on them, right? All types of
By
abuse.
the way, it's two D's
Black
in her
children,
name. Mm-hmm. Go ahead. Someone typing Condoleezza.
Condoleezza.
Yeah. The
But
law.
yeah, so if black children can live through that and survive, white children can learn about it. But they want to brush everything under the rug, and then they have this whole bullshit out there right now about you know slavery being beneficial to us, and you actually got some Negroes out here that's co-signing that bullshit, you know, um, which is infuriating.
They want a lot of times. Okay, so I'll explain this as a lifelong former Republican. Okay, everybody, because this I can't with these people these days. A lot of it is networking and feeling a sense of trying to fit in.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, I'm not saying it's ever justified to turn on your race or anything, but a lot of times when you think differently or you're a different person, look at Kanye West, look at some others. It be our own people who exile us, or when you speak educated or with articulation, or you enunciate your words. You're called Oreo. You're called white. When you grow up around that, subconsciously, your PTSD is going to make you not want to be around those niches of people.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens is the white
Well,
folks, yeah, not always, but what it
yeah,
is, they see that and they take you in as an opportunity to be their token. The problem
I
is,
understand because
yeah,
I deal with that myself. We'll talk about that in a minute because look, I was going to talk about Toussaint Louverture right quick from the Haitian Revolution, right?
okay.
They don't want to. That's one of the main things they don't want to teach about because in that case, black folks won. Black folks won.
Oh yeah,
Came out of that one alive.
You know
Right.
what they like
So
to bring up? That Haiti is poor because of it.
right.
That's what they
Mm-hmm.
say. Oh, we didn't
Yeah.
we didn't colonize it, so therefore these blacks are suffering. That's what they like to say. But go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, we all know the truth of that, But well, yeah. Let's get to that first before we go to the Woman King. Okay. this whole thing about why Clarence Thomas switched over, right? See, I can understand, even though I would never do that myself,
Right.
because when you're outspoken about being black first, because of the traumas in the black community and because of self-hatred,
Right.
a lot of black folks don't support black people who are outspoken about being black first.
Okay.
I myself I'm very outspoken about being for all black people and being black first. I get sometimes ostracized and pushed to the side and dissed by other black people from all sexual orientations. I get dissed by black same gender loving people, LGBTQ people. I get dissed by heterosexual black people because they're because they're in love with this. They're in love with this system, and they want a piece of the pie from this system. And they look at somebody like me, who's more about trying to build my own black table for myself and our people, and they see me as a bad thing because they're out here trying to beg for a seat. They're trying to beg for a seat at the white man's table, right? And because I'm saying I'm trying to build my own shit, they push me to the side. Now, see, if I was a weak-minded person, if I was a weak-minded individual, I would let that shit get to me, and I would be like, well, if you can't beat them, join them, and I would join the rest of them and be just doing everything out here as a filmmaker, as an actor, a singer, or whatever, as a award-winning filmmaker. I would change my position on what I put out there just to fit in. Thank you.
Again.
Thank you. I would change my whole position on what I put out there, and I would start portraying stuff like Tyler Perry does, right? because that shit makes money, right? It makes money,
Yeah,
but I'm more about right.
He knows his audience,
but dysfunctional shit makes money. So the dysfunction in the black community is very profitable to this society, but I refuse to do that. I'm very dedicated to using my artistry to uplift our people. But if I was
a comment,
yeah.
Sorry, I'm gonna read. Then there's good comments. I'm gonna stop you. So his black brain was removed to place it in a jar of mayonnaise to get out. So the get out scenario is so real. I mean, look at Nat Turner. When Nat Turner was executed, they destroyed his body and kept his brain and burned it to get rid of a legacy, and because they don't want that kind of thinking. That's how these people are. So
yeah, well, they celebrated, they actually sold tickets in church. They sold tickets in church to lynchings of black people. They held parties. The whole family gathered around to watch black people be lynched and hung, and then they would cut off body parts. Sometimes they would cut babies out of the bodies of black women, and throw the babies to the ground. They fed black babies to alligators. They cut off black men's penises and put them in a jar and took them home as souvenirs, all that kind of shit. Okay. This is the type of people that we're looking for improvement or acceptance from. It doesn't make any sense to me why we want acceptance from them. But anyway, so
they use black people's skin as couches before. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I heard about that too. Yeah, they use black people's skin to make other types of clothing too, shoes and all that shit. They did all types of stuff to black folks. Okay, and so it pisses me off when I hear black people talk about, just saying kumbaya and get over it and everything will be fine. No, kumbaya is not a good thing, especially when we're still under their control. I mean, just last month on July the 4th, a black man was murdered by a 41-year-old black man was murdered, stabbed to death by a 36-year-old racist white man on the 4th of July, who was heard saying that he wanted to go out and F up an N-word, right? So he went to a convenience store, and the first black man that he saw at this convenience store, he stabbed him to death. But they did not charge that white man with murder.
Of course not.
Charged him with some. They charged him with some bullshit like disturbing the peace or whatever. So he's walking around out here scot free, right?
Just like back in civil rights days when we get lynched and stuff, it only took when the state would not prosecute for murder. The federal government, all they were allowed to do was prosecute them for disturbing civil rights. They did not put them on the charges that were deserved, and that was usually a slap on the wrist if they even served any jail time. But it gave the message that our lives were still not equal. We're still seen as products of a person. So
exactly, and it's
still trying to get outside. Give me 1 second. No, keep talking.
Okay. Well, that type of stuff is still going on today, y'all. Like a 13-year-old boy named Sensei Reed was just murdered like back in March of this year by another 36-year-old racist who saw him outside playing with his friend.
Right.
And he shot the 13-year-old boy in the back, right?
Mm-hmm.
Witnesses say that he shot him in the back. But
Right.
the coroner's office, which is often in cahoots with the racist cops and so forth, lied on the autopsy and said that he was shot once in the hand and once in the chest,
Right.
because the white man claimed it was self-defense. He shot a 13-year-old child in the back and
I
killed
mean,
him.
kind
And
of like
he,
Trayvon
and,
Martin.
yeah, and he's out here walking around free right now. And of course, you heard about Rasheem Carter, who was killed a year ago in October. He was lynched. His body was dismembered. I think it happened in South Carolina.
Let
You
me ask
know,
you this. And when they show them on the news, what picture do they usually use of them? They have a
I
hoodie
don't
on.
even.
They use a
Yeah,
hoodie on or a picture they took doing this
right.
that they probably took on their MySpace or Facebook or something a long time ago.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
it's a
but
mess.
with it is, and with 25-year-old Rasheem Carter,
Mm.
which just happened October of 2022. It hasn't even been a whole year yet.
Right, right.
He apparently had a disagreement with his boss, right?
Mm.
And he felt threatened, so he tried to get somebody to give him a ride to the police station,
Okay.
and no one could give him a ride. So he ended up walking to the police station, which I believe was in another town. The police told him that they could not help him. You okay over there?
Mm-hmm.
The police told him that they could not help him, right? So
Of
he
course
left
they
the
do.
police station. He left the police station, but they were probably in on it. Okay, he left the police
That's how it
station,
always
and
was.
he noticed that he was being followed. He texted his mom and told his mom that he was being followed by 3 truckloads of white men. She never heard from her son again. The next time she heard of her son,
They
he was dead. They had lynched him. They cut his head off. They severed his head. They fed several parts of his body parts to animals. They cut off his penis and stuck the penis in the mouth of his severed head. And the cops in this town are saying they don't see any foul play. How the fuck can you not see any foul play in that
We
situation?
dismember
Because they were
someone and
probably
basically
involved.
cut them apart like cattle,
Yeah,
and there's no foul play. You do realize, and we've discussed this before, policing, right? Someone asked when was this?
it happened in October of 2022, not even a year ago yet. It
Someone
won't be a
else said
year until this
Cisco
October.
Bennett was charged with murder for basically defending himself against two racist drunk white boys on July 4th in Defuniak Springs, Florida. It's Florida. What do you expect?
Mm-hmm.
But I was gonna say, I mean, remember,
But
policing
but
came from slave catching.
but Rasheem Carter, I think Rasheem Carter was in South Carolina. That's the one who was dismembered.
Right, right, right. So I'm just looking it up. Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
policing came from slave catching. And remember,
I know.
back in
Yeah.
the 20s, 30s, and during the civil rights movement, a lot of the people in the white people think it was just the KKK.
Mm-hmm.
There was the White Citizens Council, the
Oh
KKK.
yeah,
There was a lot of them. And there were a lot of the people in these were
the
congressmen,
FBI.
the FBI, Herbert Hoover, not the Herbert Hoover, J. Edgar
Right.
Hoover, I said the Herbert
Yeah,
Hoover, sorry.
I know
J.
what you
Edgar
meant.
Hoover,
Yeah.
judges who openly would be like, get these N words out of my court. Why are we even trying this? Yeah.
Doctors.
And we were kept from voting, so we couldn't be on juries. I mean, the
Mm-hmm.
system was always set up in that manner, but that's a history lesson that they don't want to teach that
Everybody.
right now.
Yeah.
So we have to learn it
They,
from
they,
movies and stuff.
well, we have to make sure that we teach our history to our children. We can't leave it up to them. We can't give them control.
Someone just
We
made
have to
it.
teach our own children.
Someone just said, I'm stunned that this form of brutality isn't more known. And that's why it's important to teach it, but they are worried about people's sensitivity.
I post about it. When I post about stuff like that, it normally gets crickets. A lot
Yeah, of course, because
of
you
black
know
folks don't
why?
want to
You
acknowledge
know
it.
why? Because one, people find it too triggering. Like my own family, when you turn on Roots or something black, they get
Mm-hmm.
upset. Or
Right.
when you post something that's more than 3 sentences, people don't want to read it. I've done a social experiment
Right.
before where I put 2 paragraphs up, and and I don't care about likes and stuff. I actually turned that shit off because
Mm-hmm.
it's exhausting. I don't want that attention. But
Right.
it only got like 40 something likes. You know what I did one time? I wrote something long and added a photo of me with it. Hundreds of likes. But the only thing they were liking was my photo. I was getting
Okay.
messages. Oh, good photo. Did you read the message?
No,
Come on.
they did.
No.
No.
Because it's sad.
It's
But
very,
people sit here and
very
like
sad.
video of two people fighting each other outside the club, and bash them instead of helping them. You
I've
know,
never posted. I've never
someone
posted videos
someone
of
said J. Hoover was
black
a
people fighting.
cross-dressing buffoon. I'm
Uh,
weak.
yeah, yeah. And what I was saying about when you were saying about how black folks should carry on like they did in Montgomery all across the country, and I said if they had did that, then maybe Jordan Neely would
Mm-hmm.
still be alive. As I was saying, he never actually threatened anybody bodily harm. What he said was that he was thirsty and hungry, and that he don't care if he has to go to jail, right? Um, if the situation was reversed,
Mm-hmm.
if that was a homeless white man on the train saying the same thing, you can bet that white folks would have not sat there and watched a white man watch a black man choke a white man to death for 10, 15 minutes. If I had been on that train, he wouldn't have did that. If I'd have been on that train, he would not have choked Jordan Neely to death for
Of
10,
course not.
15 minutes like that. But they just sat there and let it happen. You
Of
know,
course.
that really bothered me. And then when I heard his story about how he ended up out there like that, it was really heartbreaking what happened to him. When he was 14 years old, um, he lost his mother, right? He was
Jesus
living
Christ.
he was living with his mother, but see, that's not all. He didn't just lose his mother, it's how he lost his mother. He
Mm.
was living with his mother and her boyfriend, right? So his mother normally wakes him up for school. This particular morning she didn't wake him up. He got
Mm.
up on his own. So when he got dressed for school, he tried to go to her room to speak to her. Her boyfriend wouldn't let her in the room saying that she wasn't feeling well or some shit, right?
Right.
So this went on for a few days. The boyfriend kept giving excuses as to where the mom was or whatever. Then they find out, then they find the mother's body in a suitcase on a highway. The
So toxic.
boyfriend had the boyfriend had choked his mother to death. So he ended up in foster care from there. I guess nobody in his family took him at
Right.
14, so he ended up in foster care at that age. So I'm sure that contributed to why he ended up having mental problems.
Yeah.
His mother being
I
killed
mean,
like that, you know.
yeah, that's
Um,
traumatizing. Jesus Christ. Whew. Someone
so
said we can
it,
come. Willie said we can come together and fight with no plans or organization. Imagine what we'll do if we come together naturally, like our ancestors did to beat slavery. Good point, but we are so divided now over stupid stuff. We sit here and
yeah,
gun each other down over a pair of Jordans now. Happened in Houston the other day.
look,
My
people don't like
cousins were
when
at
you
the
say
club. My
this.
cousins were at the club, and the place got shot up outside because someone was trying to steal someone's pair of Jordans. We tried to go. Someone tried to help him, and it got ugly. And everyone's in jail now. Two people are in critical condition. What the hell?
You
Over some Jordans.
know, we talked about Dr. King earlier. He was regretting integration. That's why he said,
Well, it
I fear
didn't.
at my people until a burning house."
Well,
Before integration, black people were better
we're
off
thriving.
mentally and financially. Yes.
We were thriving. The only thing that was hurting us was the quality of education. But business
Mm-hmm.
wise, housing, we were thriving. We wanted to go into the white neighborhoods and get them big, nice, beautiful houses. So yes, I understood there needed to be some housing change. There needs to be education changing.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
societal wise, it hurt us because black businesses went out of business. Barbershops are the only ones who survived. Everyone else hurt. And you know who faltered the most? Black teachers.
Right.
Black
Yeah.
teachers. They did not bring them in our white schools. They let them go.
Of course
And they
not.
end up being secretaries and janitors or librarians. Sad.
And as Malcolm said, Malcolm said only a fool allows his children to be educated by his enemy. And what we
Mm.
have today is a result of that.
Yeah.
Right. But let's go into Woman King because I know you only got to 7. We're going to go into Woman King right now, which you felt very
So
hard to get through.
a little
Now I'm gonna tell
background
you,
for everyone. I'm a Viola Davis fan. I'm Team Angela Bassett, but I like Viola Davis too.
me
And I
too.
was a little disappointed in some of the roles she's been taking from The Help to now this. I didn't like, but regardless, I hadn't seen Woman King last conversation. I have now. And I also saw The Little Mermaid recently as well. I was forced to sit down and watch it.
Right.
I'll reserve my comment because I like Haley,
Okay.
Chloe, whatever. But
Now, uh, look,
Mm-hmm.
I love Viola Davis too. As an actor myself, I would love to work with her someday.
Yeah, I love her.
Okay. Now, I had found out because people thought that the writer was black, right? And then I found out that the writer was.
Are you
I
talking
found
about
out,
Woman
yeah,
King?
yeah. And then I found out that the writer was white because some of my fellow actor friends had went to see the movie in Florida, right? At the festival, and they saw who they thought was the writer there,
Right.
and and he jumped on one of my friends jumped on my post and was like, "Man, you're wrong. I was there. It's a black woman." And I like looked up the woman whose name was the writer, and it was a white woman. So I don't know what games they were playing, why they had a black woman if there's a writer when it's actually a white woman. But anyway, some of the issues with the Woman King
Mm-hmm.
is the inaccuracies with the historical stuff, and then also some of the things that they
And accuracies is an
did.
understatement.
Yeah, and the way that they intentionally portrayed black men. They basically portrayed all the black men in the film as being anti-woman,
Of course.
if you know what I
Of
mean.
course they did.
Which we all know that that's not true. Not every single black man is anti-woman. Not every single heterosexual black man is anti-woman. And then also issues that I had with, if you notice, the way things were shot, like you know how when they show black men and women fighting each other, and they show the brutality in those scenes, in those moments in the film, right? They purposely showed how brutal it was, and they
Well,
showed more blood.
well, they
But
do
but
that
but
to
but
show
what?
that we can't
Right,
be habitual together.
right. But
So,
so they show black folks killing each other savagely. But when it came time for black folks to kill white people in the movie, they kind of pulled the camera away some, if you know what I mean.
mm-hmm.
On certain shots, they didn't want to show black people brutalizing white people that much.
Of course
So
not.
um,
Because it
so
shows
what
us
we,
being strong and being resistant, something that they
mhm,
don't want to portray.
right.
They want to keep the image that we're weak and passive and cannot, you know. So,
So what are some of the inaccuracies that you want to point out to people?
so one, well, what bothered me, it's not so much inaccuracies. What bothered me was the whole, oh, my mother abandoned me. Why do we always have to be bad parents and leave our kids?
Hmm.
You notice that?
Yeah, I did.
I caught that one. I apologize. The dog's cheering us on. Then some of the historical miscontext about the war, guerrilla wars and stuff. Um, it's sickening, to say it nicely.
Hmm.
And further, the woman king thing. There were women kings, and who there were women. First of all, woman king. Well, I won't go there, but just that oxymoron in itself is wrong. But there were plenty of women leaders and African tribes and stuff before. But
Yeah.
let them tell it. Africans don't respect women. They think that
Hmm.
they're less than. When there were a lot of women leaders who led tribes back then, even during Yoruba and Ojutanji, when there were wars then, and New Guinea and the Jeja tribes, these things we were fighting off strangers, Europeans
Hmm.
who were trying to come back then. Christopher Columbus, who's a Spaniard. We
Yeah.
still, I don't know
Hmm.
why they still call a holiday after him. Discussion for another
Hmm.
day. But yeah, so I apologize.
No problem. Um, I forgot what I was going to say. Is he okay?
She's fine. I was on mute, so I didn't want to hear it. I didn't want Peter coming here, tagging
Oh.
this. Go ahead, though. No,
They're going to think you
she,
doing something.
like, when I'm on calls and stuff, I leave the door open so they can look outside so they don't bother me. Otherwise,
Oh
they
yeah.
say,
Well, the role was originally offered to Lupita, right?
mm-hmm.
Lupita, and she was excited about the role, but then she found out um, some things that didn't sit too well with her, so she decided to turn the role down. You know, so you can look that up. It's out there. I think it was in the New Yorker or something, some publication it was in, about Lupita originally was offered the role and why she turned it down. You know, uh, what
Mm-hmm. Well,
you you didn't know
well,
about that?
I didn't, but I understand why she did. Without even reading it, I have my notions, but I'll read it before and educate myself. Also, I'm kind of glad she didn't because her skin complexion and her being African, you already know where that would have went. So
Mhm.
I just don't see. I just didn't see Viola Davis doing that, but I could, but I can't. But hey, they
Right.
paid her a nice check. But I'm not going to call her a sellout because I absolutely love Miss Davis. So
Nah, I'm not going to call it that either. And then the whole thing with the Little Mermaid. Well, I had said like over a year ago when they first announced it, I said I don't want to see that because I'm sure they're going to put her with a white man, right? Because they always make they can't never have like a black
ooh,
princess or whatever with a
there's some
black prince.
good comments here. Sorry. So Willie said there will always be a few to sell their own kind out. The objective is always stay conscious of the mission of unity in the community, no matter the difference. That's one thing that the
I
black
see
community
Tony.
does not do. No, we can't sit here and differ without insulting each other and bashing each other. The bigger picture was for us to, even Malcolm X and Martin Luther King disagree, but the
Right.
bigger picture is they want us to have equality in some way.
Exactly.
Booker T. Washington and W.E. Du Bois, you know what I'm trying to say, disagreed fundamentally, but they still wanted the black man to win. Just one felt like we need to be more educated, and one said we need to accept segregation to be better. Both ways
Right.
were work, but they didn't sit here and insult each other and call each other coons and sellouts. They worked
Mhm.
together. Now
Yes,
you
they
think
did.
differently, you
And
know, you're
and
called a sellout.
yeah, I see Tony saying that Christopher Columbus was a sellout, or no, a sex trafficker.
He was.
And
He
Viola
was.
Davis.
He sold
Okay.
literally. He
Yeah.
sold black the black women or the mulattoes that were
Hmm.
sold into slavery, who were the more prettier catches, right? Those were the ones who were actually sold at top dollar, and you know why they were sold? To breed. That's sex trafficking.
Right.
They suffered more
Yeah.
than some of the dark, more, I mean, everyone suffered, don't get me wrong, but they suffered tremendously. And it was really,
Hmm.
really pathetic. Christopher Columbus is an absolute devil. He's Satan. And the
Right.
fact that we are taught in schools, which is why critical race theory is important, and politicians like Ron DeSantis should surely be
Hmm.
ashamed of himself because he knows that's why they want to be taught. They know what it is. Um,
Right.
if these young kids knew, white and black, who Christopher Columbus really was, they would not celebrate him. But instead, they teach
Hmm.
that he was the first to discover America. He was not. He was
Hmm.
not. Leif Erikson
Right.
was not. There were explorers even before Europe was Europe who found these lands. They just did not have the funds or the, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got what
I know
I'm
what you
trying to
mean.
say. So,
Yeah.
um, but go ahead.
No, but there's so much that we don't know. Like, I'm not going to get into the whole thing about where that song, Amazing Grace, came from, but I posted about that before too,
Yeah,
where
on the
that came from,
slave
and I
ship.
don't like it.
It was
Yeah.
that captain.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the last times I was at a church service, they turned the Black History moment into a celebration of him because he wrote that song.
But
And I was so pissed.
even though he was against slavery and the slave trade, he still contributed to it by taking them from point A to point B to point C to point D. Because people have to realize
Hmm.
there was more than one port. They didn't just go from Annapolis to Africa. They stopped first in Brazil, then they went to
Right.
Barbados, then they went to Europe, then they went back to Africa to trade the tobacco and goods and spices and guns, and went down to the newfound land. Then they went all
Hmm.
the way to South America, and then did the whole lap. What was it called?
Right.
What was, you know what I'm trying to say? Yeah,
The transatlantic.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. But it was
yeah.
something about a triangle or something. Yeah, but
Okay.
okay.
I don't know the
Brain
term
fart.
for that,
Sorry,
but
sorry. Brain.
well, I mean, it is what it is. Um,
It was
but
fucked up either
now,
way.
oh yeah, it was fucked to be the way, and he participated though. I mean, he had slaves to my knowledge too, right? At one point until he so-called got saved. But um, we wanted to talk about this whole thing with all these new terminologies, right? Now, I did look up some stuff about the word cis, and that it's supposed to have been around for some centuries, but cisgender did not come about the term until like 1994 from some woman by the name, I guess it was a woman or it could have been a man, by the name of Dana Leland DeFosse
Why does
in
it sound familiar?
1994.
Someone to triangular trade. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Go ahead.
Yeah,
See,
thank you.
I
Dana
educate myself too.
Dana Leland DeFosse is the person who is named as coming up with the term transgender. And transgender did not enter the English dictionary until 2015. So it hasn't even been in the dictionary for a whole 10 years yet. Now, I understand that the word cis has been around supposedly for a long time,
Now you say
but they were not.
let's be clear, everyone. Cis is a CIS, right?
Yeah,
Like cisgender.
CIS. CIS.
1 second,
Okay,
guys. Sorry.
uh, no problem. Well, thank you all for being here. Um, oh, wow.
Sorry, everybody.
No problem.
Like two dogs from the tail. Please.
Oh, wow. Well, yeah. Um, it was first named by this person by the name of Dana Leland DeFosse in 1994, and it wasn't put into the dictionary until 2015. Which was not even 10 years ago yet. It was 8 years ago that it was put in dictionary. I personally don't like it. Now I know it's supposed to be a technical term or whatever, but I've been living my whole life just being called a man or male, which I identify as. I didn't have to have a qualifier put on front of it, cisgender. I don't like being called cisgender. I don't care if it is a technical term. It's some bullshit that just came up with in 1994, the word cisgender. Maybe cis has been around longer, but cisgender just came about in 1994, and they just put it in the dictionary in 2015.
I'm going to
Uh,
waffle
and
feather.
I personally don't want to
Yeah.
be called cisgender.
I'm going to waffle
I'm just a
feathers.
man. But
I think certain groups of people just want their own N-word.
yeah, that's what I was going to say. That's what I was about to say. That's what you texted to me, and I was like, huh?
They
What do you
want
mean
their
by that?
own.
But I wanted to wait until you came
It's
on the show
like,
because you said
it's
when we
like
talked about the word cis, yeah, you said it was like their own N word, or they wanted to have their own N word.
that's
So yeah, I
and
want
one
to
of
know
the
what you meant by that.
reasons for people to not I do understand and respect it. Now I will say this: someone like Shamar, the person who has the bone issue
Okay.
that people like to make fun of. Now someone
Mm.
like that, and if she wants to say I'm cisgender, I'm a cis male or cis
Mm-hmm.
female, I respect that because not everyone. I thought it was a female. I didn't. I
Right.
was not. I wasn't educated. I didn't know because I don't pay
Mm-hmm.
attention to the popular culture. I don't watch reality TV and stuff, so I don't know. Um, I thought so. In that case, but if you were walking down the street, you're a wrestler or you got a full beard, and it's clear that you're a man, and you say, but I do understand on the other side. Let me back up. I do understand on the other side. There are people who are trans now. There was someone who I was at a concert. I won't say which one that I was dragged to, and they made it known.
Already know.
They
Already
made
know.
it known that they were a trans man. I would
Okay.
have never guessed. They had a full, I mean, dreads and
Yeah.
everything. So in that case, I understand that. But we're talking about
Mm-hmm.
the term cis. Now,
Right.
if I say to them, hey, what's up, man? And they go, well, I'm a cis male. I can understand if they were questionable. But in their case,
Mm-hmm.
I still would say man because that's what you want to be. So I do understand, but my thing is, folks, and this is all I'm saying, be patient with people when they don't understand or when they don't
Mm-hmm.
necessarily get it or it's new to them. The reason people are angry and resisting it, just like with the mask during COVID, is because of the way people react when they don't get the response they want. When people are uneducated or they don't know, instead of educating them, people attack. So that
Right.
makes naturally human beings are going to revolt or they're going to be contrarians to it. Like with the mask, I
Mm-hmm.
didn't have a problem wearing a mask during COVID, but when I chose
Right.
sometimes that I
Neither
couldn't
did I.
breathe, if I have asthma, so if I couldn't breathe for a minute, I didn't take it off for a second,
Yeah.
or when people were were skeptical about the vaccine because they need more information, instead of insulting them or calling them super spreaders, educate them or just say, hey, maybe you should
Mm-hmm.
look at it. Here's why. We didn't do that. People insulted them and
Oh,
isolated them and
I
judged them.
know. I
If
know.
we discussed this before, I went through the same thing. Some people have health issues and they can't take. I know plenty of people who died from getting the vaccine. And when I brought that up, I was called ignorant. I got kicked out. I got kicked out of a group.
I know,
Yeah,
yeah, I know people who have died after
I
taking
know
that
someone
that
who
vaccine too.
and when you said, "Oh, the cost of the vaccine," oh my God, they people wanted to kill you, and I'm like, well,
So I
that's the
know,
truth. You can't sit here. I'm not saying it was always the case, but there were situations where people really died from it. And you say that it's, oh my God, you're
right?
anti-vax. No, I'm
Because
telling you what happened.
it's
So
not it's not a one size fits all.
right,
You know, it affected people differently, and the fact of the matter is that it did kill some people. Excuse me, it did kill some people. I know a male nurse, a friend of mine, a black male nurse, who said how it affected him when he took it. When he took it, he said he was in pain. His face swelled up. One side of his face dropped for like 2 weeks.
you
One of
know
my
what people
cousins
are going to
has a
say?
female friend
Oh, he
said
must
that
have had
that
a
happened to her.
stroke. And when he had it, they probably going to say, oh, he must have had a stroke. It wasn't the
No,
vaccine. He must have had a stroke. But
right,
when you bring up pre-existing conditions, then, but when you bring it up when they die, right?
yeah.
Then it's, oh, wait, no, it wasn't. Like when you say, oh, they didn't die from COVID, they had pre-existing conditions. Oh, you were called ignorant. But
All
when
right.
they died from
I
the
know because
vaccine,
like
yeah.
when I was going out, which I haven't gone out now like 4 months. I don't even miss that shit. I'm focused on my films and all of that. But anyway, and music, you
Well,
know.
this be
Now,
you. This be you
in
in
case you ever
retirement.
heard in case you ever heard me blow out a little bit of that Whitney Houston song recently that I just posted, you need to hear that. But anyway, I'm just
Okay.
saying. But no, what the hell was I saying? It just left my brain
You
like
said
that.
when you
I,
last went out.
yeah,
We were talking about the vaccine.
people
You said
people
when you last went out.
people I would never bring it up. People would always bring it up,
What
right? They
what
would
kind
bring
of
it up.
vaccine do you have? What
Yeah,
type? When'd you get it? Are you getting the
which one
booster?
did you get? Did you get Moderna or did you get Pfizer? And then they would ask me, and they would have the nerve to ask me. I'm like, I didn't get it. Why not?
Oh my God.
That's stupid. You're selfish. Well, look. The thing about it is, I didn't tell nobody what to do. You don't tell me what to do. And there are people who have had that vaccine and the boosters who still keep getting COVID. Thank God.
Full
I've never had
disclaimer.
that.
Full
I've never had.
disclaimer.
I've
Full
never had it once.
disclaimer. I before the vaccine, I didn't get it until it came out. What June 2021? No, it
Hmm.
came out sooner than that, right? It was like April 2021. Sorry if
Yeah.
I'm wrong. Sorry if I'm wrong, people. I don't know. So I don't y'all get in my inbox. Don't y'all record this and say, oh, he's ignorant. Before I had the vaccine, I never caught anything. And I had been to Atlanta. I had been to Houston.
Hmm.
I was going out. I was a little reckless. I'm not gonna lie, but I'm not. I'm just a social person. I'm not sitting in the
Right.
house. I need to be out. So I was traveling. I remember, there was a whole debacle. I joked and said I got something in my elbow, and of course, people didn't hear the part afterwards where I said I was joking. They like to just stop it
Right.
there, but I'm not going to
Of
address that
course.
again because it was ridiculous. But I understand how sensitive the time it was, and I don't march those comments back because it was a joke. But I do understand I'm sensitive to how some people were traumatized by that. So I was wrong. However, um, I never caught the shit once. I get the vaccine,
Hmm.
and I'm not gonna say how many times I've had COVID, but it's gotten to the point where I've gotten used to it. I,
Hmm.
and
Wow.
I've had the
Really?
booster. I got the super booster, and you're supposed to be older to get it. I'm gonna leave that alone. But at
What?
the end of the day, do not, just like with the point we're making with the pronouns,
Hmm.
there's nothing wrong with accepting them. I think it's amazing that people want to be individuals. I think it's awesome that we're being inclusive. Don't get me wrong. I think someone said March 2021. I remember because it was around my birthday. But folks, educate people. Don't insult them because it's going to make them feel less. They're not going to be obligated or feel motivated to be educated. If you go to someone, oh, you called
Hmm.
them, you didn't say cisgender, he, she. I'm sorry,
Right.
she, they, them. Respect my job. Somebody, well, let me not talk about my job. A place of employment that I'm aware of. Someone had called a client she by accident, and it was a male, and we had to
Okay.
do that job had to do a training for 2 hours on the pronouns, and we were
Right.
just sitting here like, and it's sad that it literally indicated the training was not like, okay guys, this is the right way to do it. It was more,
Yeah.
if you don't do this, you're violating this civil right law. If you don't do this, you
Hmm.
could get fired because this person complained and it could sue the company. And it's like, or why don't we just educate us, or let
Right.
everyone
But that's too
say
much.
what they want to
That's
say, you know.
too much work for people. They rather take the easy way out and just insult people and shut people down and cut people
Right.
off. They don't want to explain anything.
Sensitivity training.
Um,
Yes.
right.
No,
But some
someone said.
people want everybody. Some people want everybody to be sensitive to them, but they don't want to be sensitive on both sides. It's
Right.
always one way,
Oh no,
one
no.
sided people.
Let me bring this up too, real quick. So I saw a video the other day on Twitter. A transgender woman had robbed a Subway or something, and like came in there and like beat up the person making the sandwich, and they
Mhm.
stabbed somebody and ran. The caption said, "Transgender woman robs a Subway and cuts someone and leaves." And all the comments were saying, "Why do we have to single out that she's transgender?" I said, "But you guys always want to be included. So when it's something
Mhm.
negative, now it's why do we have to say she's transgender?"
Right.
They hold on. So now you want to be included. You want to be called what it is. Why is it a problem that we're saying transgender woman? And I mean, you should
Well,
follow the comments.
I
All the comments. Why
guess it's the
do we
same
have to
way
single her
that,
out?
right. I guess it's the same way that, like, when a black person does something crazy, all black people feel like it's a spot on all of us. I don't personally, but a lot of black people do that.
Well,
Uh,
I felt
like
like it
they're
was
like
snipers
they're
in
like
DC.
so-called, say what,
The
for
DC
who?
snipers. I was so
Really?
pissed. I just knew it was some right way. So I thought it was a terrorist or a white racist man.
Right, because they're normally the ones that do
And
stuff
it was
like that.
really,
I
it was,
understand that.
one of the people had my last name. I said, "Oh my god!" I went straight to ancestry.com and said, "Please don't make sure I'm not related to this man." So
Wow.
someone made a good point. They said she committed a crime. Her being transgender is a moot point. I agree with you.
Exactly.
I agree with Dream Chase. I do get it.
It's
The point I'm making is we can't have one way and not the other.
it's sort of
That's what
like
I.
when they keep saying black on black crime, right?
Oh my
But
gosh.
but statistics show that actually white people kill each other
Yeah.
more,
Oh, they don't like to say that.
right? But when white people kill each other, it's not labeled white on white crime. It's
Of
just
course
called
not.
crime. They
And
call
I hate to say it.
right.
That's why I don't give a shit about this Ukraine thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's a distraction from how bad the economy is doing. They want to say the economy tanks because of this. No, there are things going on in black nations that are way worse than
Mm-hmm.
this. Look at look at Liberia.
Exactly.
The, and we care about two countries that are fighting over land. Hello, white
Right.
on white crime. Because look how Russia and Ukraine have treated Africans.
Oh, I remember. I saw how they treated the black people that were
Alan
there. Um,
Muhammad Lee Malvo, yeah.
okay. Oh yeah, Lee Malvo. Yeah, I remember that. And they look, that's another thing. They wasted no time getting rid of him, right? They executed him quickly.
Yep.
But there are white folks that's been sitting on death row for like 20, 25, 30 years. They have not executed yet. But they got rid of that black man real quick. I wanted to also talk about the poor brother that lost his life recently,
Mm,
O'Shea Sibley, right?
mm.
You know, I had mentioned the fact, because first of all, when you look at the video, you can see that they didn't appear to be black people
Right.
that were the cause of this. So of course that's why they was protecting them
Right.
and keeping names out of the media and stuff like that. And
Right.
so I had made a post about that. I said this is not just about it's not only about his sexual orientation that's a part of it, but it's also about his race. I
Right.
said because the one that killed him was not black. And I
Right.
said, I'm pretty sure that there weren't just, quote unquote homophobic slurs being yelled at him, but there were also racist slurs being yelled at as well.
Right.
And one of my friends was like, well, how can you say there might have been if you don't know for sure? But I found out later on from a friend of mine that lives there in New York
Right.
who went to, um, the visual for, uh, for O'Shea,
Right.
that there were racist slurs that were used, and when that happened to O'Shea. So so what happened to him was not only about his sexual orientation; it was about his sexual orientation and his race.
And his race.
Because right, so they want to kind of brush over the fact that the person that killed him was not black. Because if it
Right.
was another black person, if it was another black person that had killed him, they would really be pushing that out there. right? But they're trying to kind of be more quiet about it because it was another person of another race that
Right.
killed him.
Someone said the little bastard lied about being Muslim before he murdered him. Lord.
Hmm. Yeah, I
And he said,
remember that he said that, and he turned out not to be Muslim.
move.
Uh, but he was obviously not black. I know that, and um, we'll see what they do. Are they really going to bring justice for O'Shea? What justice would be for him to still be alive. That would be the real justice, for him to still
Exactly.
be alive. But um, let's see what they really do with this case, being as though his murderer was not
It's
black.
in the South,
Because
right?
we already know if he was black, they would throw the book at him.
Oh,
But
yeah. They would have thrown the
they
whole
tend to,
theory at him.
right. Because look,
They wouldn't have thrown the
what
book, they
happened
would have
with
thrown the theory at him.
because like with Tyree Nichols, for instance, when those black officers did what they did to him,
Oh,
right? There
he
were a
was
couple
something.
of white
Fuck the
officers
police.
involved.
Fuck all
Right.
police. Mm-hmm.
Well, you know how I feel about that too. But there were white
Gave him
officers
20
involved
years.
also.
Mm-hmm. I
But
think jail. Jail,
the
I'd rather than jail than death penalty. Because at least in jail, he's going to get his ass beat.
yeah, definitely.
There's
And
no way to live.
the
Mm-hmm.
white officers that were involved in Tyree Nichols' case, they didn't get charged with anything.
Yeah, the name is Dmitry Popov. Someone said it's Dmitry Popov. Am I saying it right?
Yeah, he's
I
pretty
feel
sure
like
he
I'm
was.
sneezing. That's how the name sounds. I feel like I just sneezed.
I forgot what nationality he is. Um,
Wow.
but yeah, so we'll see what kind of justice happens in that case. Um, you know, it's a lot of crazy people out here. I just want black folks to wake up and just stop judging each other over things like sexual orientation and different religious beliefs. I mean, because like even Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, they were both friends. They were both friends with James Baldwin, who was a open homosexual.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I won't say LGBTQ because James Baldwin did not identify with LGBTQ. He was open about his sexual orientation, but he did not identify with LGBTQ because he saw that as being part of, you know, the white racist
Yeah.
structure.
I mean, look at Capitol Pride. I saw like how much. I mean, you have cities everywhere when it's I guess, the normal Pride weekend. You see, they put money into it for the parades and giving to the
Oh, yeah.
organizations. But when black people want to have their prides, it's scrutinized and just called a fuck fest and about parties. I've seen
Mhm.
it. I know the promoters. I know people who are involved with those committees, and it's sad that so. And then during COVID in 2021, Muriel Bowser here, I believe the Black Pride was Memorial Day weekend, and they kept the
Yeah.
capacity. They kept the capacity limits, but
Mhm.
then she lifted it the weekend that the main Pride was, and I
Yeah.
said, interesting. So you don't want the black folks, and Muriel Bowser is someone who is LGBT, although she won't admit it, but clearly look at that haircut. Um, you know, it's sad, but guess who's in
Right.
her pocket?
Mhm.
The
Yeah.
white corporate people, because I don't know how the bitch, and I called her that. I don't know how the bitch keeps getting reelected.
Oh
DC,
God.
stop reelecting her. But what
Right.
it is
Somebody.
47% of the population of DC is white, and then 50% or whatever is black. What's happening is we're getting 5, 6 people running for mayor because there's no party system. So all the black people split the vote with the other candidates. She gets all the white vote. That's what's happening. She gets all the Ward
Mhm.
1 and 2 votes
Yeah.
because black folks are
Yeah.
not
Someone
voting
said,
for her.
yeah, they still don't put any effort into the black prides, which, of course they don't.
Yeah.
They'll use black people. They'll use black people for
In
their
fact, the only
agenda.
thing they do is
But
increase police presence
mhm,
to make sure we don't fight, but they don't put no money into it.
right.
They do that. They do that in general, even with the straight places. Like I go to Park and 14th, and you leave Park 14th, there's 50 cops and security all over the place. But you go down to one of the white clubs, you go to Zanzibar
Yeah.
or something, or Becky Bar or something, and that's not the name of a place, by the way.
I know
and they're
that. I know
outside
you were being sarcastic.
having to let out outside. Yes, Connor, come on, let's go drink some beer in my house till 5 a.m. drunk
Right.
on
Mhm.
ecstasy. Nothing. They sit there and shake their hand. We outside. We walk outside. Second week outside. Come on, go home, go home, go home. So, and I
I
won't
know.
lie, we do fight. We do fight. We do. And someone said, I noticed the black
Yeah.
clubs are smaller than white clubs. They don't want to give us the big venues, and we don't support our own, so we don't always come out. But that's a good point. But we do fight. That's why my friends need to hold each other accountable. When any of my friends go outside and they're ready for war, we make sure the Uber is right there. Take your ass home.
Mhm.
But
Right.
we don't. We like to egg our friends on and record them fighting and shit. No, do better.
Nah. Yeah.
That's why
I don't have time for
that's
that.
why folks are ending up in jail right now. Stupid. And that was a subliminal.
Oh,
But go ahead. So,
you sending
anyway,
subliminal messages to people.
yeah, I'm gonna leave that alone. The folks, if you know, you know. But anyways, so cool.
What time is it?
It
Because I
is
know you
7.
have to. Is it?
I have a few more minutes. I got to do Bible
Okay.
study. So my
I know
turn.
you.
It's
I'm proud of you. You're
appreciate
working
it.
with the youth. It's a good thing.
It's third Wednesday. It was my Wednesday. I thought it was second
Cool.
Wednesday. It's third Wednesday. So
Hmm. Cool. Cool. Well, I'm working on getting this stuff out here. I know it's been a
let me
while
know. You know,
trying
I'll
to get
share it
this.
recorded. Next time you go to Detroit,
Yeah.
let me know. Although I'm gonna wear a bulletproof vest, but I'm going to
I
Detroit.
didn't have any problems when I went there. I went there for the Detroit Black Film Festival. My film was in the festival there. Um, and people are already saying, there's going to be a lot of controversy about my new film when I finally do get it out
And
there. I know they will. Huh?
and
Well,
and
well, I
let
already
them
know
be
what's going to be. I,
let them feel
I
the
don't care.
controversy.
I don't care. I don't
Good.
care. I mean,
You
I'm
know
not scared
what?
of it.
Controversy. Roots was controversial because they said it was too soon to release that. And to this day, Alex Hayes,
Right.
although he's a fraud, he was that the '70s version of Tyler Perry. He opened up the conversation of what really happened those days.
You called him
He
Tyler Perry, the
was the
70s version of
'70s
Tyler
version of
Perry.
Tyler Perry, except he wasn't gay and in the closet. But regardless, and
Right.
he didn't tear down black men. But still, um, same thing. But he ruffled feathers, but he made a point, and he was brilliant in his writing. But
Hmm.
he was controversial because people didn't want to hear what was really going on and how slavery
Oh,
was.
right.
Hold on. Someone said
Right.
these are two clubs in
What?
Philly called Woody's and Voyeur. The rooms that are considered black is like a bedroom. I've been to Woody's. Um, I think I've been to Voyeur. I think I have.
I've
I've
never
been to
been to
Woody.
Voyager. I think I've been to
I've been to
Woody's too, but I didn't stay
Woody.
long.
That's the main
But
one, and I've seen it. There's
and that
one. He's
was
talking
like
about the room
5 years ago.
upstairs. It's a room upstairs in the corner that has a rude ass bitch as a bartender, and it's freezing cold in that room. I know what room they're talking about,
Mhm.
and then there is Voyeur. I can't say I know much about Voyeur. That was probably back in the day, but yeah, y'all
Yeah.
over
Well,
to that.
what we wanted to say right quick. Well, that was like 5 years ago when I was there, and I wasn't there long. But what we want to say right quick, we
Almost moved
was
to
talking
Philly
about
too.
the
Crazy.
whole, the whole, huh?
I
Say it again.
almost moved to Philly, but that didn't happen.
Okay.
Yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead.
we wanted to say right quick about the whole Clarence Thomas thing and why people switch over. Sometimes it becomes very challenging. Like I think I started on it when we moved around quick a lot. We moved around a lot, but a lot of times black folks who start off as pro-black is because and end up being on the other side is because we don't always get support from
Mm-hmm.
our own people because our people have been programmed and trained to protect whiteness. And when black people stand up and say that they're black first, our own people often won't have our back. You know what
Of
I
course
mean?
not. And
So I think that's one of the things that makes
well,
people switch over. You
on
know?
the other side too, remember when was it Ray Lewis and Steve Harvey? Remember they went to go talk to Donald and Jay Z. No, Jay Z. That was different. It was Steve Harvey and Ray. Was Ray Lewis? Yeah, went to go talk to Donald Trump about when he was talking about passing legislation for police reform. And they literally were meeting with him to give perspective. They both have dealt with police and stuff. They've dealt with police brutality. And instead of people listening to hear them out to say, why did they sit down and talk to Donald Trump? They called them coons and sellouts. I said you would want someone from our community, even with Lincoln and
Well,
Dwight Eisenhower. Go
you
ahead.
know, that's the same thing they did to Ice Cube, right?
That's right. It was Ice Cube too. Yeah, yeah. He was the other one. Yeah.
Yeah,
I said Jay-Z.
Ice Cube. Oh, yeah, Ice Cube. He was the one who he met with some black scholars and came up with the contract with Black America, which he made available for everybody to see, right? Which there
Mm-hmm.
were some good things. There were some good things in that contract for Black America, but black folks told him to just shut up and sit down somewhere and let's just wait and see. Let's get them in the White House first and then make some demands. But that's not how you operate. We're
And
supposed
not
to make
only
demands.
that,
We're supposed to
and
make
I was
demands
discussing
first.
the other day, these two in the White House, the Black America contract. Anyways, go ahead. These two,
Well,
please.
see, people were getting on his case with meeting with Trump's people, right? But he also took it to Biden and Kamala, and
What
Biden
did
and
they do?
Kamala they said, well, let's talk about that after the election. That's what they told. That's
And
what they
have you
told Ice
heard?
Cube.
And know what they did? They pushed the George Floyd Police Reform Act that didn't even
Hmm.
pass. They didn't even talk about it more than a month. It didn't even get through a Democratic controlled Senate and House. Didn't even get through it. They didn't even vote on it. They were too
Right.
busy, and they blamed it on we talked to the other side. You had 58% of control. There was no reason for it to not to pass. And then when they refused to acknowledge it because
Hmm.
they didn't want backlash from independent voters for the midterms. That's what it was. They just say let's just throw them a bone and give them Juneteenth. And most people, including black people, can't even tell you what Juneteenth is. They can't.
Right.
It's sad.
I. Well,
One person they were talking about it, and I told them tell me what it is, and I could tell they copied and pasted the definition on Google. I literally copied what
Well,
they
you
said,
know.
popped right up on Google verbatim. I said you don't know what it is because the Google
Right.
definition is not even correct. It is, but it doesn't give context on what happened. It just said
Yeah.
the state signified this. You don't understand what Juneteenth is. It's not just
I
the
got
day.
you.
Yeah,
Right.
it's not just the day we were freed. No, it's
And
deeper than that. But go ahead.
so yeah, I was acknowledging it before they decided to make it a national holiday, and I was one of the people who wasn't happy when they did that either.
Yeah.
Um, because I personally I don't need white folks acknowledging it. I don't want some white people.
And not
I
only
don't want some.
that,
I don't
most
want
of us
some white
most
people.
black people, the ones who work in retail stuff, we not me, I'm not, but the ones who work in retail stuff, nothing wrong with that. I know people in retail who are killing it. Okay,
Mhm.
um, they don't get those days off. They don't work because guess what?
Right.
Because these corporate schemes are saying, oh, Juneteenth sale, 20% off. In Houston, there was a car dealership
And
that all African
yeah,
Americans get 20% off of all vehicles. When I posted that, people are like, "Oh, that's cool." I get it because I ain't gonna lie. If I was in the market for a car, I would have done the same thing. I would have went there and got one. However,
right.
the point
You said
is, it's
Juneteenth was
not
actually about Texas.
those people in
Somebody in the
marketing don't
comments,
say what Juneteenth is.
right?
Someone
Someone in the
that Juneteenth
comments
was
said that
actually
Juneteenth
about
was
Texas
actually
being the
about,
last state to abolish
yeah,
slavery. Wow, interesting
yeah.
perspective. Okay, I did not know that. Cool.
You didn't? I knew that. You know, they were the last to know. Purposely, they didn't let them know. So, hey, man, that's how they operate. That's how they still operate in this country, and that's why they want. That's why they're trying to erase everything now, because they want to keep us dumbed down. You know, they want to keep us oblivious
Yep.
to our history.
Yeah, they
But it's
don't want
important to know the
to
history.
what it's
It's
about.
important to know the history so we won't repeat it. What did you say?
And they don't want to teach in the school. I bet you the kids, a lot of these public schools are not going to get Juneteenth. Oh, I'm sorry, they're not in school around Juneteenth. It's summer, so they ain't got to deal with it.
Right.
Well, I do got
But
to get to go.
I know. So we will definitely
And I will
get
not
into
leave
the.
you hanging for a couple months. I got to focus on my mental health. So
Oh,
I'm good.
yeah, you talk.
I'm good. So
Yeah, yeah, you text me about that, and I'm happy that you did take care of yourself because that's your first priority. That's your
of
first
course,
priority. That's most important to take care of your mental health over anything else.
Malcolm X
This stuff right here will wait.
talked to a grand wizard of the KKA about buying land. Wow. Huh.
Hmm.
So we'll do a part 2.5. and maybe we can talk
Yeah.
about red dresses. I can talk about that. See, I don't do the podcast thing no more, but I don't mind coming on other people's here and there. But
Okay. I
yeah,
ain't scared. I ain't
I'm
scared.
not even, because when I had Code Red, I would have brought that shit right up and said it, and I got so much backlash, and I did not care. Y'all still watching? So, anyways,
So you totally gotten rid of your podcast. Both of
there
them.
was more to the story than that. Remember, it was not a one person thing,
Yeah,
and I
I
don't
remember.
bad talk other black men publicly or in general.
Okay.
I would just
I
say
got
that
you.
folks, there was fundamental differences, and there was some things going on in the background with people's priorities in their personal life. And I just felt that it no longer was about what we wanted it to be, and it was more about
Hmm.
image and stuff. So the point was made that I'm going to step aside and let it sink. And all I'm going to say is the views were cut by like 80% when I removed myself, and I will leave it alone.
Okay.
So,
All
and
right.
the whole
All right
staff
now.
walked along out with me. So I thought about launching my own. I have contemplating it.
Hmm.
If I did, it was going to be my own thing like you do and just have guests here and there. I was going to have
Right.
it here or in person, whatever.
But
However,
yeah, that's what
I didn't want my motivation to be proving a point. I wanted it to be because I'm enjoying doing it and I'm profiting. If I don't feel my heart is in the right place or my heart is not in it, I don't need to be doing it. That's all.
exactly. It has to be. You have to be really feeling what you're doing. That's very
Exactly.
important in life.
Just
And
like
my
what you
my
do,
goal is to say what?
just like what you do with your film, inspiring, showing a pragmatic and different cinematic approach, the juxtapositions that you demonstrate that make people think and truly, truly see an alternative perspective that challenges not just thought, but perspective and realism. Do not change that. It is the most pragmatic thing I've ever seen. And I don't want you personally
Thank
to
you.
change that. Same
I'm
thing
not.
with these podcasts. I watch your show whenever I can. I
Hmm.
go back, watch the recordings you see. I comment later on the YouTubes. I know you
Hmm.
see it. I share it. So thank you for having me again. Definitely. And if
I
I
thank
do make
you.
the decision to start my stuff again, you will definitely be on my show.
Oh, definitely. I would love to. And I do hope to eventually take this to a live studio and have a live studio running it.
Do it.
And if we do this, and if I do start that, I'm going to have you on mine as well in person.
Let's do that. We'll have a live audience.
Definitely.
And I'm not talking about them fake ones that do the with the sound
Oh,
like Martin
right.
had. So,
All right. Thank you, brother.
all right, man.
All
Have a
right.
blessed blessed one. Let me know. Also, everyone, you said it'll be on YouTube, right? Like you'll download it.
Yeah, this will be on YouTube. It will also be on Facebook, and it'll also stay here on Instagram as well. It'll be
Okay.
in those three
Send me the
locations:
link so I can share it on my
Instagram,
page.
Facebook.
I can share it on my
Okay.
page. Cool.
Okay.
All right, bro.
All right.
Bye.
Peace. Bye, y'all.
How do you turn this thing off? You do it.
Hey, man. I think I did. Oh, there you go. All right. Thank you all for joining me and Jeffrey. I appreciate you all joining us tonight, and I hope that you all enjoyed it and learned something. And I love you all. I do this because I love us. Peace. God bless.